Alright guys, what's going on? So today we're talking about Swapped the Animation and figuring out if this movie is actually good or if people online were right calling it overrated. Now for people who haven't seen the movie Swapped, it takes place in this massive valley filled with completely different animal species that mostly stay separated from each other. The valley almost feels like its own ecosystems with different habitats built around different creatures. You've got the forest floor where the puku live, these small woodland creatures that survive using speed, teamwork, and their knowledge of the environment. Their side of the valley feels warm, crowded, and alive, with tunnels, giant roots, mushrooms, and all these tiny pathways that make the world feel believable. Then above them are the javins, the giant bird species that basically rule the skies. Their habitat feels completely different: open air, cliff, huge nests, strong winds, and the movie does a pretty good job showing how disconnected these species are from the other. And that separation is really important because the whole movie is built around fear, misunderstanding, and survival. The main focus is Ollie, a Pooku voiced by Michael B. Jordan, and Ivy, one of the Javins voiced by Juno Temple. After accidentally swapping bodies, they have to survive each other's environments while trying to figure out how to switch back. So let's break this thing down category by category and figure out if Swap is actually underrated or overrated. This movie honestly has some amazing animations. Like right from the start, you can tell a lot of care went into the visuals. The trees actually feel alive, and the water looks natural when it flows. And the feathers on the javins look incredibly, especially during the flying scenes. I also love how each character has their own unique identity and movement style because it helps everybody stand out instead of feeling copy and paste like some animated movies do. And honestly, it just feels refreshing to look at. The colors were vibrant, the environment had detail, and even the smaller background shots looked polished. So for animation, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It's clean, it's visually impressive, and I'd definitely love to see more animated movies take this style. Now, when it comes to the world building, honestly, there's not that much to rate on that. Most of the movie stays inside the valley, so it's not like we got to explore this massive world with different kingdoms or anything like that. And even though the Javins could technically fly outside the valley to hunt or get resources, the movie barely shows any of that, which really makes the entire place feel more closed off than it probably should have been. But outside of that, the valley itself was built pretty well. The separation between the different species felt believable, and each habitat matched the animals living there. The Puku side felt warm and grounded, while the Javan's territory felt isolated and dangerously high above everyone else. I just wish the movie explored more outside of the valley because I think that could have made the world feel bigger and more alive. So for world building, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Now the characters. Honestly, pretty basic on paper. You've got the curious Puku who wants to see the world, and then Ivy, the hard-headed Javin trying to protect her people no matter what it takes. It's a setup we've all seen before in a lot of animated movies and regular movies as well. But where the movie succeeds is making the characters memorable through their moments and personalities. And let's be real, the fan favorite was definitely Bugo. He probably had some of the funniest scenes in the entire movie, but he also had one of the most memorable moments too, especially the reveal of the fire wolf. The movie also does a pretty good job building up the backstories without dumping too much information all at once. And one twist I actually really liked was finding out that Ivy was the same Javin Ollie helped when he was younger. It's not some mind-blowing reveal, but it was a nice little detail that made the story feel more connected outside of the bigger plot twist later in the movie. So for characters, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Now, for the protagonist and villain side of things, this is probably where I'm mostly mixed. I actually love the twists in this movie, and honestly, wouldn't want to completely change them. But part of me wishes the firewolf reveal never happened. I almost think it would have been more interesting if he stayed a comedic relief the entire movie instead of turning into the main villain, because he had energy. Every time he was on screen, you would remember it. And I like the chemistry he had with the other characters. But once the movie revealed him as the firewolf, his motivation started to feel a little weak. Like, yeah, he got cast aside and treated badly, but going from that to killing giants and trying to rule the valley felt a little extreme. It's like he had a temper problem, right? And the movie even gives him another chance to turn things around, but he fully commits to being evil anyways. He could have just simply not turned back into the firewolf and just turned into something normal and blending back with society and just basically live. Even when he was a runt of the litter as well, he could have just turned into another species of animal and basically just live out life. He wouldn't be the runt anymore, right? Because he would be in another batch of people who maybe don't cast him aside, and he could have done so much. Still though, every animated movie needs that kind of big villain moment, so I get why they did it. And despite my problems with him, he was still entertaining to watch, right? So overall, I'll give the protagonist and villain side of the movie an 8 out of 10. And moving on, the story. Honestly, it's a story we've seen before in a lot of movies, but it works. The whole different species learning to understand each other thing isn't exactly new, but the movie handles it well enough to stay entertaining the entire way through. The biggest thing carrying the story is the twist. There are multiple moments where the direction of the movie suddenly change, and even if you predict some of them, they still make the movie exciting to watch. It keeps you interested, keeps the pacing moving, and gives enough emotional moments to make the ending feel satisfying. So for story, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Overall, I think Swapped is a pretty good movie. Is it perfect? No. Some people definitely aren't gonna connect with it, and I understand why. Others think it's overrated. But at the same time, I think the animation, characters, and emotional moments are very strong, enough to make it worth watching. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'd honestly recommend giving it a chance and deciding for yourself. But anyways, that's my rating for Swap. Thanks for watching Deck of Discoveries, and I'll see you guys in the next one.